Well, I'm going to show you how I used to make, by the way, I'm sitting in my garage, how I used to make airplanes that flew out of pop cans. Haven't done it for a while, so I'm going to see if I can make another one without error and show you how to make it. These actually glide very nicely once you get all done. We also live across the street from the train, so we'll be hearing that. One more and then he'll be through. Oh, yes, he is through. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to discard the bottom of the can and the top of the can and save this part right here without doing too much damage. Now this can, if you look at it, has a few places where it's been mistreated by whoever was drinking the pop out of it. It doesn't hurt that much, but I would rather have a can that didn't have that. So we need the can. You're probably going to need a pocket knife. Probably going to need a pair of scissors that are only good for cutting aluminum. Don't use your wife's favorite quilting scissors. You're going to need some kind of tape. And then you need some kind of little thin pencil diameter, maybe a piece of doweling. This is a Papermate Wright Brothers pen, which is just about the right diameter. You need a small diameter. A number 2 pencil might work, but the smaller the better down to this point. You don't want to get any smaller than this. So we'll go ahead and get started. We'll set everything aside here and we'll get started cutting this can apart. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is we'll take and we'll just gouge it with the point of a knife like that, and then we'll just go around very carefully, very carefully. Good idea to have the pop rinsed out of it before you begin. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. Just going around the can, slicing. You could cut your finger if you're not careful. You could also use scissors for this part. Whoops, that was kind of a bogus cut there. We'll see what we can do here. Now, these cans are made by taking what they call a little plug of aluminum, heating it up real hot, and putting it at the bottom of a mold, and then coming down and pushing that hot aluminum, and it squeezes out the bottom and comes up towards the top. So the top of the can, excuse me, the top of the can is thinner material than the bottom of the can. So we want the bottom of the can to be the front of our plane when we finally get it made. We can get rid of that. Now we have to do the same thing to the other end. So we come along and do the same thing to the other end. Get started here. And you'll notice this is cutting a little easier because it's actually almost the same thickness as the bottom, but it's just a little bit thinner because of the way these cans are made. They're thinner at the top, thicker at the bottom. And anytime you make anything that's worthwhile, like an airplane or a brick house, it takes a lot of time, a lot of careful work. You won't have a plane that flies if you aren't patient and careful. So we get rid of that. Now we just have this. And probably the best place to cut down the middle would be here, so that that's going to kind of disappear. So what we're going to do next is we're going to cut straight down the middle, like that. And now we have a piece of aluminum that we can work with. And I didn't get a towel, so I'll just wipe this on my pant leg here. You probably want to get a towel handy. Okay, now I'm going to put on my web page, I'm going to put a basic plan for this, but so you can copy it and print it off. But really, this should all just be done freehand. Now what we need to do is we need to get this rolled the opposite direction. We can do that by rolling it over the edge of the table a few times. Of course, this table has a round edge. It's coming along. Okay, that's pretty good. Now we're ready to cut the airplane out, and the plans that you'll see on my website are what we're going to follow. But as you watch now, you can also see how we're going to do this. So we take our pen, and we're going to take it and use it as the centerpiece. Remember now, the bottom is going to be the heavy part, and that's going to be towards the front of the plane. So what we want to do is just work this down to where we've got it around the pen or pencil like that. Then we're going to try our best to keep it like that while we cut the wings out. Okay? So here we go. Make sure this corner up here is pretty even, and we're going to get a nice straight edge along here like so. Now we'll slide this out and we'll finish that cut. Get back here, you. Okay. Now then, you want your wings to be fairly narrow. You don't want a wide wing, you want a real narrow wing. So what we'll do is we will cut a wing at a little bit of a taper. I shake a lot, make sure everything's still lined up. Yep, it is. Okay, so we're going to cut it a little bit of a taper, right about like so. And bring it back like that. Then we're going to make a bend here and head towards the back of the plane. We'll put our pencil back in here to maintain what we would call squareness. We'll go back to the back side. Now these wings on the back are going to be a little shorter. So what we'll do back here is we'll cut it off right about here. Okay? And we're going to cut all the way up here without getting the other wings. Just like that. And then we're going to make this nice and square, the same way we did the other end. And we'll put a little bit of a taper on it. And now we'll make the back wing. We'll just make that about like so. Come down here and curve around and try to meet the other guy. Okay, so now there's our basic airplane. We'll put it on like that. Okay. Does that look like an airplane to you? Not yet? Okay. What we have to do now is we have to bend the wings out. So we'll start with the back, and we need to bend them out right down next to this part right here. So we're going to take them, we're going to just put a kink there, like that. Bend that wing that way, and then the other wing, we'll turn it around here. Bend him back the opposite direction once we get a good bend here. So he's going to come back this way. Now we have to do the same thing to these front wings. So we'll bend them in the same manner. Bend this one back this way. Okay, so now we've kind of got our basic airplane. These wings aren't going to be, they aren't going to be curved like that, and you'll see why in a minute here. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to bend these all the way down, sharp angle, like so, so that we can pinch them together. And then we got to be able to hold that together like that while we take a piece of tape what we'll do is we'll put this piece of tape here and then pinch these together and then roll them over like so. Okay, so we got that one. Oh, I see. Well, we kind of goofed on that because those wings were aiming down. We'll get this one put together, and then we'll go back and fix that. Oh, by the way, I haven't made one of these for about 20 years. There's a lot of things you can forget in 20 years. Put him there. I'll roll him over here. Okay, so that can be adjusted like that, so that's okay. But these front wings, we need to we need to rebend those. So we'll take this tape off. Maybe we can still use it. We'll bring them up like this, and then we're going to rebend them so that they're straight with the pen. They have to be, that bend has to be parallel with the pen, with the body of the pen. So we'll redo this. And make it like so. That should make a better wing. Yeah. Okay, so we'll get us a brand new piece of tape. We'll put it here, and then we'll push these guys together and roll it over there. Okay, now that doesn't look like much of an airplane that's going to fly right now, and it wouldn't fly right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to trim the corners on these so that they won't look like they're going to poke you. Now we take our pen out, and we have to make some aerodynamic moves here. So what we do is we take our pen and we put it under the wing, and then we start pressing with our thumb and our fingers, giving some curvature to this wing. And that's where the lift is going to come from. Is the curvature in the wing. Okay, so this is just got to go like this more. Okay, so if you look down that wing, you can see there's some curvature to it. Okay, so we'll do the other wing. Try to do the other wing. Put our pen underneath of there and press with our thumbs. And the bend should be as close to the front of the wing as you can get it, as I may have already said. Okay? And then we can take this and bend it up the way we want it so that it has a little dihedral, they call it. And then this back here, we have to make it work as a vertical and horizontal stabilizer. So this has to come up more or less like so. This would be like a V-tail Bonanza or some of the modern home-built planes. And this is we'll adjust this back here to make it fly the way we want to and go the direction we want it to go. So there we have the basic plane, but right now it's not going to fly because this plane is not going to be, it's going to be too tail heavy, okay? So we have to put some, we have to make it not tail heavy. So we have these two pieces and they're going to work just perfect for what we need. And what we do is we take, well, let's just trim all the wrinkles off of it first. We take this guy like this, do that to this guy. Okay. Now, these have to roll up and go inside the fuselage. So what we do is we start rolling it around our pencil, like so. Not real easy, but you know, if you're going to make a brick house or an airplane, you're going to have to struggle a lot. Anything worthwhile takes time. All right, so we got that one going. Okay, now then, once we get that going, we can actually work it with our fingers and get it to be a smaller and smaller diameter. So we're getting it to be a little bit smaller as we go here. Just by wiggling it back and forth and twisting on it, it's getting to be a smaller diameter. What we're going to do with this when we get it smaller is we're going to take it, whoops, and we're going to stick it inside of our fuselage. I think. Get it smaller yet. Still too big. And you just twist it and pinch and twist and pinch and twist. And pretty soon, you'll get it small enough that if you pinch this just right, you can get it in there. Okay, so now, and what's keeping it in there is this piece of tape. Okay, so now we've got a little bit more nose weight, but we have to do one more. So we'll do one more. Roll him up. And he's going to have to go inside of the other one that we rolled up. So he's going to have to get real small. Okay? Pull our pencil out and start working him. Just twist. You twist like back and forth like this. And then pinch. You got to pinch it because that piece at the very inside, he doesn't want to bend too easily. We got to get him small enough to go down inside of there. All right, maybe I got him small enough. Let's see. Not quite. Ooh, I just poked myself. If you poke yourself, you trim it off like that. I won't poke you. Don't want to get bloody. Airplanes don't fly too good when they're covered with blood. Okay. Now we'll see if we can get him in there. Come on, get in there, get in there. There we go. Okay. Now let's see if we got some balance here. Whoa, we got some pretty good balance. Put our finger underneath it here. What we can do is we can slide this out and slide this out and get exactly the balance we need. Okay, and that's pretty close. Now, what I have to do is, like where this tape is right here, I have to trim that tape off and get it out of there so it won't affect the lift. Now, the way an airplane works is you have a horizontal stabilizer, which keeps you from going up and down. Then you have a vertical stabilizer, which keeps you like this. And normally, what we were talking about, an airplane has to have lift, and the lift comes from these wings. Okay, I have a YouTube video showing why you get lift on a curved wing. And then you have to have it stabilized forwards, up and down. And that's the job to do that is the wings that you normally see down here. And there's a little control surface back here that you bend, and it goes up and down. And then the vertical stabilizer is the tail that goes straight up, and that keeps it going left and right. But with this plane, you have to make a combination. So these two are going to work together. Now, when I first throw this, because these are not probably bent perfectly, it may not fly too well. And also, when I first throw it, because, we'll get this bent up just a little bit more, because these two wings, this wing may have more lift than this wing because I just did this like so. But right now, I think we have a pretty good balance. So we're going to take this outside, and we're just going to give it a toss and see what happens.
Okay.
So here it is.
So at this point in time, it's a matter of making a lot of adjustments to the main wings, and also to the control surfaces on the tail. So as you can see, I'm picking it up and I'm throwing it, and it's doing a pretty good job. And then I throw it into the wind, and it looks like it's flying pretty good. And it all begins with trying to adjust those rolls that are in the front, and that adjusts the weight and balance, because it has to have a little bit of weight towards the front. So you keep sliding that out. Now, what you see here is the right wing wasn't getting enough lift, so I'm putting a little bit more curve into the wing, which will cause it to give a little more lift. So I'm coming out and I'm going to try it here. There it goes, okay? And looks like maybe that didn't work. So, now we're going to try it again. And you just keep trying, and you make adjustments. There he's making it so it's not so nose heavy, which I don't think is going to work. And so he throws it. Sure enough, it just crashes. So now he pulls it out a little bit, and then adjusting the tail so that it gives you, notice he's twisting it so that it's the wings aiming down a little bit. That'll pull the tail down and pull the nose up and help it to glide better. So that's going to make a difference. And he keeps working on it. Now we got to get a little more weight and balance adjustment. So he tries it again, and that didn't work. So now we get a little bit more, and it looks like that might have worked pretty good. So he's getting it to where he's getting it pretty close to where it's going to glide, and by adjusting those, he can cause it to pull the back down, pull the tail down a little bit, and raise the nose, which gives it a little bit better gliding ability. So still working on it. And it looks like he's going to try to get that right wing to get a little bit more lift to keep it from turning to the right. Also, it doesn't show it here, but if it keeps wanting to turn, if you bend the main wings up a little bit, now there he's clipping some off the end of the wing so it won't be quite so heavy on that side. But if you bend the wings up a little bit and give it a little more dihedral, it'll glide better. So it looks like it did pretty good this time. Looks like, no, well, I don't know. It didn't go out, did it? Crashed inside. So now he's adjusting the weight and balance. I'm going to give it a try. And more adjustment to the weight and balance. Your plane won't fly until you get everything adjusted just right. And it's a matter of trial and error. And don't step on it. Won't hurt it to drop it. And every time it bumps into something, it pushes those metal things back into the fuselage. Now that looks like maybe it worked, and he's going to go all the way out. And sure enough, it glided clear out into the yard. So that was a good one, and now it's all adjusted the way it should be. And he has his glider, or I should say, I have my glider. So there's a glider made out of a pop can. And the only parts left are the top and the bottom. Looks like there's a little square part there. And so there you have a pop can glider